You serious?
Yeah, ho. There's plenty of ways to kill some time out there. Right now, you're killing some time with Marcus Bronzy.
And me, Funk Butcher.
Butch, Funk. Last week, we went to an event for a game that we mentioned on the show a couple of times before because we believed it showed great potential. And we got to go to the launch.
Yeah, and it didn't disappoint.
It didn't disappoint. Injustice 2 was the event. Headed down to, where did we go again? It was like an old club. Like one of the archway. Like in London, there are these areas where there's trains that go over bases. My words, man.
Yeah.
My mouth noises aren't good this week, are they? There's areas where there's train lines that go above, and obviously there's bridges to keep them off the road. But in the arches underneath them, they make these massive like venues for clubs and stuff like that. So we were at, where were we at? Billingsgate.
Invicta Plaza.
Invicta Plaza,
just over Blackfriars Bridge, right in the smack bang in the beautiful scenic part of central London. If you go one way, you head towards the IMAX cinema, the Oxo Tower. From the vantage point of the bridge, you can see the London Eye and all that stuff. So it's a really...
That's a right, cab drivers. I like that. I feel like I'm in a taxi.
I know
driver.
the area pretty well.
Really?
Yeah. That's
couldn't have guessed. What a surprise.
You got the Tate Modern around there as well. So yeah, it's a really nice area.
Wow, you really just gave us everything to do. What do I want to do if I want to eat some Italian food between the hours of 7?
Londoner.
Right, anyway, so we're at the Injustice 2 event.
Yes.
Luckily, we got in there early.
Yes.
So, like, the event hadn't even started yet.
Should we give him my story about how I got in and how, I got in through the staff door and everyone was confused at how I was there, but because I was already inside, it's like, they didn't really want to kick me out. Which is like, you didn't come in through the normal entrance. You haven't signed off anything. And it was a bit like, they came up to me with a clipboard. And who are you?
And you slap the board out of the hand and who are you? Move.
Give me one of those cupcakes.
Yeah. Before we get to the game, I just want to say Warner Brothers and the gang, the PR team, those are some fucking great I don't know where those cupcakes came from. They were cupcakes with characters from the game in it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I didn't really care about what was on the top of the cupcake.
Yeah.
The inside of the cupcake was delicious.
Yeah. I was playing a little game, an independent game with myself where every time I lost a fight in the venue, I'd go have a cupcake. So
you were deliberately just starting rounds and just not touching the buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to Injustice 2. We got to get our hands on it. It was mostly people playing multiplayer because that's how it was set up and they wanted everyone to have a go.
Yeah.
Loads of people down there. Shout out to Shorty Blitz that was down there. Joe Grind.
Shout out to E+.
Ryan Hart as well. Like a world ranking Guinness World Record holding beat 'em up player. I think Street Fighter is more of his forte, but he's sick at fighting games. He was down there as well, and there was a tournament that I unfortunately couldn't whoop anyone at because I was doing all right on the day. I was handing out some whoop ass.
All right. I still managed to pull out my super move on you first.
He did. Funk found out how to do the super moves real quick. But so yeah, we went to experience it, and yeah, it was a great setup for getting the game home, and the game itself. Firstly, it's a beat 'em up. In case that's not obvious to you, it's from the DC world, which is more of your speciality. So there's like different worlds, different universes, and this is the Injustice universe, right?
Yeah.
I've not played the first Injustice game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I haven't either.
No. It didn't really appeal to me, and I don't think it had the features that this game has got because I feel like this has really stepped up its game.
Yeah.
In terms of one, as a fighting game, it's cool.
Yeah.
And just the interactions between the characters. Like, so for multiplayer, when you pick two characters at the loading screen when you're selecting characters, they like slap each other in the face before the fight. That's wicked.
Yeah.
And then before they fight, like if you're like the Flash and I'm Groot, they'll have a special little interaction that only they will have with each other.
Because they have a history.
Yeah, they have a history, but it's like whoever you'd pick, like if it was Wonder Woman versus the Flash, they'd have a different sort of thing. So it kind of drags you into the story. And then there's the story mode, bro.
Yeah.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, it is a movie.
It's a movie. I would say Injustice is less of a fighting game with cutscenes. The story mode, I feel like it's a movie with cutscenes of fighting.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it though.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it because the story's sick.
Yeah, it definitely works.
Yeah, it's a good Batman as well. There's a great Batman. I love the version of Batman in it as well. Obviously, I'm a Batman fan.
Yeah.
You get to start the game as Batman as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But the way it ties stuff in, like even ties stuff in, like it makes Batman fighting Superman and him not just dying as soon as Superman punches him in the face feasible.
Yeah.
And like graphically in the cutscenes as well, you can tell they've done motion capture, so the character's face are real. But honest, it should have worked a bit better on getting the lip sync right. The lip sync's a bit off for me. It's a bit distracting, but the facial expressions in the cutscenes are sick, and the way they tie into the fighting scenes as well, they look really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm like, I like to think I'm like 2/3 through the story mode. Like I had to stop myself because I had to go and do some other stuff, but I was ready to do the whole story mode because it was just such a good watch.
Yeah.
And someone was sitting with me who ain't into fighting games, and they were like, "No, this is just good to watch. Man.
Yeah,
it's a good story."
And this is the thing: if you are sitting with someone who is not playing, it is a very entertaining watch because it's literally a film, an interactive film, and it's funny because online in some of the forums, a lot of people have said that this should have been the Batman versus Superman movie.
Oh fuck it! Oh man,
the storyline within, and I've always said this for years. I've been saying this, that the storylines in computer games are second to none. They give Hollywood, they kick Hollywood's ass. The level of in-depth narrative and whatnot it can't be beat. And this is no different. They've actually, you can tell that they've worked alongside the actual comic book writers. Yeah, because
definitely
everything down to the dynamic between Batman and Superman, and Batman he's always written into the story, the comic books as and kind of like an overarching dominant character. And even though Superman isn't obviously the strongest character within the universe, he is fearful of Batman, and you get that within the kind of the Injustice cutscenes and whatnot. So it's always interesting to watch how the only human in the Justice League is probably the most feared individual in the whole camp.
I literally said that. I was laughing. I said, "How are you going to let some guy with no powers?" Yeah, his power is money. Yeah, how are you going to let him batter you?
But that's the thing. Batgirl says that in the first. Sorry, not Batgirl. Supergirl says that in the first cutscene. She goes like, "I can bend metal bars." And then Wonder Woman kind of lets her know that, so could your cousin.
Yeah. That's a good line. Yeah. And you're right, man. Like the terms of the story, they're going deep. And that versus the Batman versus Superman film. The Batman versus Superman film, I was very disappointed. I went for a midnight showing.
Yeah.
And if I could have watched the cutscenes from the game that I'm playing now instead of the movie, yes. That is what I'd be on, man. The super moves in it are sick. Yep. Like the fighting dynamic's quite interesting. So as you beat them up, you can do like whatever, fireballs at each other or electricity charges, punch each other up. It's not that I wouldn't mind a bit more of a bloody game though. I wouldn't mind a bit more like I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more bloodying up or like wear and tear on characters. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think the only one who kind of brings about blood is Robin and Deadshot.
Yeah,
because obviously they use knives,
swords,
and guns.
Yeah. I like the fight in the interactive sceneries are sick. So like in levels, you can use bits of levels to batter each other up. So there's like a cinema level where you can kick someone into the cinema sign and they bounce off it.
I was just about to say, that is amazing. But the part where you actually can
transition scenes.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
So like if you hit somebody with a good move at the edge of a scene, they go into another scene. So like for example, you could like give someone a super punch and then fly through a door, bounce off a wall, hit a helicopter that happens to be outside, and then you're in another scene. Sick. That's sick. There are also these things where if you both punch each other at exactly the same time, that kind of clash thing comes up where you're like looking at each other and there's like a little interaction like, let's see you. And then you choose how much of your power bar you want to commit to this just to like deliver a blow. And the super moves, when you charge up your super bar.
Well, you can
there's
see
there's a lot of Mortal Kombat comparisons with this game. Yeah. Whilst they can't really invest in the fatalities, in the same way, because different games. So fatalities are ridiculous in Mortal Kombat, yes.
Yeah.
But the super moves in this, they've just had fun with it, man.
Yeah.
Like Superman punching you so hard that you fly at the speed of a speeding bullet, and then catching up with you because he's Superman, and then punching you again.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I think what makes it, obviously the Flash one is a big crowd favorite. But what I've noticed is that what resonates with a lot of people with the super moves is that there's a history there.
Yeah.
These characters are some of them are like 50, 60 years old. So what you're doing is that you're taking characteristics, putting them into these animated cutscenes for these super moves, and it's just like immediately the nostalgia is there, because we could all write these super moves for these characters because we know what they've done time and time again within their comic book personas. So when Superman does do something like that, it makes you go whoa, because you've always imagined that, and now you can actually see it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously been very difficult for games like Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat is working from an area where you only knew the characters from when they landed on this computer game. You never experienced them anywhere before that. Even though Mortal Kombat is 20 years old now, something like that.
Yeah.
You're still working from a base where prior to seeing Scorpio, you never would have known what he would have done outside of flinging the spear from his hand and saying, "Get over here." Whatever kind of variations could he have done?
Yeah.
Now, when you're looking at a character like Superman, and you know that, his super move, the next game, maybe you could use a blow of ice, or his heat ray ice, or he flings someone into the moon or something like that. There's so many possibilities because you know the personalities and the characters of these individuals. So the nostalgia it helps kind of enjoy the experience when you're watching the different cutscenes, and in that it makes you as a player want to see the other characters.
Yes.
And I feel like that's one of the all-inclusive parts of this game, whereby you can kind of get lost in a situation where with other fighting games where you're just like, well, I'm only good with this character, so I'm only going to use it and I only want to see this one. But there's something inquisitive, because if you're a lover of comic books, you want to see the other characters' special moves and how they've manifested it in with this new powerful engine.
Yes, it just makes a good game. It just makes a good, you know what it is? It's just a good game, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about how I'm going to feel, whether it's going to be the sort of game that pulls me in for the amount of gameplay as Fallout. Yeah, for example. But in terms of putting it on and playing it, once story mode's done, it will be in the pile for when the boys are around and you want to have a quick
I mean, it's got a lot of longevity. I mean, what they've done within the storyline is that if anyone knows about the kind of the way the Justice League works, is that, or even if you don't understand the Justice League, if you've ever seen Flash operates in a sense where there's hundreds of thousands of parallel universes, and what they've done
in one of them, Funk's phone doesn't go off during the show, and then he doesn't punch the mic.
Yeah,
aggressive guy, man.
So within these different parallel universes, that is where the Injustice 2 team have kind of like latched onto and said, this is where we can push our longevity. This is where we can keep the game going on and on and on and on, because you can have different character costume fittings.
Yeah.
So you could have Black Adam, you can have Shazam, you can have, and here they exist in different parallel universes, but they're the same character. Same thing with the different Supermans. And I don't know if you saw the way you can do loadouts of the character.
Yeah, like the character customization.
Exactly. So that's where that ties in, where they're the different looks of the different Flash or the different Superman from the different parallel universes. So that is probably where they kind of get that longevity out of the game, as opposed to just finishing the story mode and you putting it down.
Yeah, yeah. And there's online as well. But before we move on, who was your favourite character?
Oh, it's got to be Batman.
Cool. Who's your least favourite character? Hey, why was Batman your favourite character? Just because you're a Batman guy?
Yeah, but again, because the story mode forces you to use other characters, you begin to kind of like warm to other characters. I really liked Green Arrow.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be whack, you know.
Yeah.
He's sick.
His missus is whack.
She's got a nice bum, though. She has got a nice bum.
She's slow.
She's got a nice bum. What's her name again?
Canary.
That's it, Canary. Got a nice bum. Her. So nice, very round. I enjoyed those cutscenes.
Catwoman's pretty quick.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, as a Batman fan,
Yeah.
I have to say my favorite character in the game is the Flash.
Yeah.
Because, bruv, his moves are sick and his specials ridiculous. I don't know. I got to play a few more people for. I think Blue Beetle could have been a bit more powerful because in the DC universe he's ridiculously powerful. But obviously they had to tone it down a bit because he can't just like ruin the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was anyway. Good game.
Amazing
Injustice
game.
2. Me and Funk actually did a 360 video. We walked around, so that's up. You can check that out at howtokillanhour.com.
Yes.
It's also on our Facebook as well. Just search for How to Kill an Hour. So Funk. Oh, I burped. Sorry. The NHS hack that we spoke about last week has been resolved. You probably have heard about this NHS hack, but in terms of it being resolved, it's been fixed. But the story behind it's quite interesting. It was a guy who has one of the most handsomest names ever known to mankind. I mean, people like that. People with a name like his, I just want to buy him a drink. His name's Marcus Hutchins, and he's the guy behind solving this hack. Firstly, Funk, do you want to set up what exactly happened with the NHS hack again, as well as a quick recap on what happened last week?
So, the National Health Service, the NHS, which is a publicly funded section of the healthcare, provides subsidized healthcare for.
Good point.
Yeah,
good point.
It's not free. It's paid for somehow, and through our taxes.
Yeah,
but it is literally kind of it was set up after the war by a guy called Nye Bevan, and it was basically just a way to look after people from the cradle to the grave. That was the slogan, and over the years it started to cost a lot of money because there's so much people involved in it. And this system now, which is this NHS system, which is kind of heavily uses a lot of computers and whatnot, got hacked with a ransomware software, and it wasn't even the main target. This ransomware software infiltrated 1 in 5 trusts, and it was basically like, give me your money. And
basically it came around because the NHS forgot to update their computer system.
Yeah, and it was just like complete ineptitude on an unprecedented level. Like, really? Around that time when they had to update the patch, the software, they would have been notified, hey, you've got this much time till this is going to close, or that much time. An organization as huge as the NHS would have definitely had the notifications, but whether they switched off the noise on the notifications, whether they were too busy playing solitaire or whatever it was, they ignored it. And the XP support ended in 2016, and this hack dropped 2 weeks ago.
Amateur mistake.
Yeah,
that's amateur.
So
man.
You've had that whole window of time.
Amateur.
This guy was probably break dancing, doing body pops. Am I gonna hit it now? No, not yet. I'm gonna wait till my birthday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Cancun first. When I go Cancun, I'm gonna come back, then I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
kind of thing. He had the whole leisurely time to kind of execute this.
Yeah,
because the NHS was unprepared. The fifth largest employer, public
people in the world.
Yeah, and they were unprepared like that. Got caught with their pants down.
Who do we think is the first biggest public employer? Do we know? Charlotte, the world's biggest.
I'm guessing. No, maybe not. I would have said somewhere like China.
I want to guess first, but my guess is going to be rubbish. I was thinking it's going to be like a McDonald's or something like that. Oh, it's the United States Department of Defense.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Actually,
you said McDonald's. McDonald's is a
same thing, innit? Terrorist. So Marcus solved it. He's 22-year-old Marcus Hutchins, self-taught computer whiz who works in cybersecurity. He basically found some lines in the code that had a domain name in it, bought the domain and shut the shit down.
Really?
He bought the domain and the domain was a kill switch for it. And apparently they gave him the week off work.
Oh man.
He was already on holiday.
Yeah.
And apparently his reward was a week off work.
So does he work for the NHS?
No, I don't think he works for it. No, he works for a cybersecurity firm.
Oh, okay.
Or in cybersecurity for himself. But like,
and that was his bonus.
Yeah. Oh, well done, mate. You saved the world. Take a week off. No wonder superheroes go evil.
That's the whole storyline of Injustice too.
Yeah.
Why they just go rogue.
Yeah.
Because they're unappreciated.
Yeah. Is that it? Get out. But how's this for an idea, Funk? Now, you call me paranoid.
Yeah.
Before we wrap today's show, but do you not think that it's a little bit of a neat and tidy ending to a weird story? Like, the NHS is hacked.
Yeah.
Then just some 22-year-old guy just comes along and fixes it out. And it seems a bit clean for me, you know. I feel like if I was trying to prep the NHS for sale and say, look, it's not really fit by the people that are running it now, I would crash the bitch, like now. And then just so nobody came for me because I hacked it, I'd get some 22-year-old to resolve it quickly out of nowhere. Some computer whiz who accidentally found a piece of code in it and turned it off. Don't you think that's a little bit?
Yeah.
Call me paranoid.
I mean, I completely agree. This is clean yet messy. This was controlled anarchy. So someone did this to make someone look like a donor, and it worked.
Yeah, well, the NHS looks like they need some Norton antivirus. If I was the head of Norton antivirus right now, I'd be on their phone like, hey, what you need?
Yeah.
I got you.
But what also, I mean, before we wrap up this episode, but what also got exposed in the week of the hack was a company called DeepMind. Did you hear about that?
No.
So basically, DeepMind is a company run by Google.
Yeah. And
what has been happening is that they have access to the files and documents of every single member in the NHS. Yet no one has sanctioned that. So they're selling details to a private company.
That is crazy data. So they've been caught out.
Yeah. So this kind of came out as well. Once this hack came out and all this other stuff started unraveling, basically DeepMind are the company behind the health apps on our phone where we enter it in, and doctors are kind of doctors swear by it. They say that it helps them kind of monitor patients a lot more effectively. But the patients themselves aren't aware that their details are being held by Google and their kind of offshoot company called DeepMind. DeepMind. I love the name though. DeepMind.
Yeah, that's sick, man. That's sick. Rah!
Can I just say it again?
DeepMind. But I want to look into that. I want to look into that more. But Bitcoin is like the popular ransomware currency at the moment.
Yeah.
Basically, Bitcoin's digital money.
I hate that name.
Bitcoin. Why?
Yeah. It's not like DeepMind. I like DeepMind. There's something movie about Bitcoin is just like
it sounds cheap, innit?
Yeah, Bitcoin.
Yeah. Give me that moolah, that money. Do you take Bitcoin?
Yeah. Bitcoin.
Excuse me, do you take Bitcoin? It doesn't exist in the physical world though, really. So it's like there are only 21 million Bitcoins that exist. But this doesn't mean that once they have all gone, there's no more. Bitcoins can be split into smaller units, and there are 1 million bits in each Bitcoin. That's why they're called Bitcoins.
Okay.
The price of them is going up. I don't know, like it goes up all the time. I was like, how? Do you reckon I can get an exchange rate for a Bitcoin?
I thought that their valuation is
they're decentralized.
It fluctuates.
1 Bitcoin equals £1,662, 21 pence.
How much?
£1,662, 21 pence in pounds. Wow. We are in the wrong business. US dollars. Let me do it in US dollar. $2,166 for 1 Bitcoin. Jesus. The price is generally going up. It's decentralized. Do you think that banks, they must hate us for that though, innit? They must hate Bitcoin because they can't get in there and mess with that.
Yeah.
So do you think
they'll find a way though?
Is that?
I'm sure the IMF will find some way to kind of tie that into.
Do you think we'll all be using Bitcoin soon? Do you think we'll be that kind of? Do you think you'll ever swap over to it? I mean, currency is currency, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable with a non-centralized banking system?
I think Bitcoin is just outside of our pay grade. I think there will be people using Bitcoin, but not us. regular pole folk.
You know, like in John Wick, when it's like 1 coin for a killing.
Yeah.
They get that 1 coin. That's what they get paid in Bitcoins. That's what they are. That's the physical representation of a Bitcoin. It's actually a USB drive. They unplug it and plug it into their computer. So like 1 coin. Do you think like super rich folk then, they use it to make their deals?
I think
like
so.
I'll buy that boat for 100 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Crazy. Keep an eye on that. Anyway, plenty of ways to kill some time out there. Thank you for killing some time with us. He's been Funk Butcher.
He's been Marcus Bronzy.
Stay blessed.